Thailand remains one of the top tourist destinations in the world, popular amongst people from all continents. As part of that, they've got a historical airline as their hometown carrier, and today we fly with them being Thai Airways, from their main hub in Bangkok up to Tokyo in business class. Now I'm going to try my best with this pronunciation, but welcome to Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport, translating to Land of Gold, which is Thailand's main international gateway and one of the world's busiest airports, where we'll look at the Thai Airways business class experience, the new business class they're rolling out, the history of the airline, and the very real possibility of a return to the US, possibly even this year. This is the airport that opened in late 2006 as the inner-city airport couldn't support the rapidly growing tourism. It was built in the area known as the Cobra Swamp, ain't that something, and took the BKK code from the old Bangkok Airport when it opened, although it initially had so many issues that the country was forced to reopen the old airport for regional flights. Bangkok has one main terminal with all the check-in counters in the same lobby. Thai Airways actually disperses their flights throughout the counters, so that it never gets too crowded in any one spot. But they have a specific entrance and row of counters for business and first-class passengers. I was here before the counters opened, so I had ventured up to the observation deck. It's not great considering how far it is from the window, especially at night with the glare. On the way down, I also found the Yaksha Demon Warrior statues. These are replicas of the ones at the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, and there's one at the end of each check-in row. By the way, considering how hot it gets in Thailand, you'll see these metal grates all over the airport. These are the AC vents, and you can stand in front of it for like 5 minutes and be totally refreshed. Once checked in, Bangkok has fast-track security with a whole bunch of people who qualify, but it includes business class passengers, and you receive not only a dedicated security lane, but immigration as well. And there's multiple of these fast-track lanes spread out across the check-in area. After about 30 seconds, I was out into the terminal here in Bangkok. Like check-in, I was here before the lounge opened. Only the contract lounges are open 24 hours here, and the Thai Airways lounges open at 5 a.m. In the meantime, this terminal is iconic. It's basically one corridor with a plus at each end. There's 3 floors for departing passengers. The top floor that you enter onto is most of the shops and restaurants, the usual duty-free offerings, but there's actually some great places to eat. The floor below that is all the lounges, which, by the way, Bangkok may have the most lounges I've ever seen at an airport. Not only are they a good size, but alliance partners rarely share lounge spaces, instead opting for their own spaces, a testament to the demand in Bangkok. Not even including the satellite terminal or the contract lounges, we've got lounges for China Airlines, Qatar, Turkish, Eva Air, Air France, Oman Air, Cathay Pacific, Japan Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Bangkok Airlines, and then of course there's multiple Thai Airways lounges. And then the lower level is the gate holding areas. They're separated by gate, but once time for boarding you go down one more level. But check out the architecture of this terminal. Sure, it might be showing a bit of age, but it's still such a great looking terminal in my opinion. Once the clock struck 5, the Thai lounges opened. They've got a few of them, but the newest one is immediately inside the fast-track immigration adjacent to Thai Airways priority check-in, which is awfully convenient. They've got kinda 2 lounge spaces down here, as there's the Royal Silk Lounge on one side and the Royal Orchid Lounge on the other. They're both business class lounges, so you get access to both, it's just that the Orchid Lounge is the newer one. The lounge opened in late 2019, perfect timing, huh? At over 20,000 square feet, it actually is the same as most Polaris lounges, although I feel that it feels smaller since it's basically just one long hallway. That being said, they do a great job at separating the spaces so that you have a semi-private nook, except that there's no views of the ramp, just the terminal, which is hardly relaxing. The food in here is great, and there's a couple different self-serve stations in addition to a kitchen to order from their menu. They have a couple reservable rooms if you're a larger group, but for the most part, the lounge is a bunch of seats separated by plant-covered walls. I do find it interesting that this new space was just built as an extension of the old space. The older space remained empty for my stay, and while it might be a bit older, it still is a large space with less people in it, but the views are still an issue. Between the multiple lounge spaces, however, I've never noticed it being all that busy, especially since everyone wants to be in the newer lounge space. That new lounge space, by the way, is the only one that has shower suites. They are first come, first serve, but they are actually really nice spaces with towels and amenities for your brief stay. Unfortunately though, Thai no longer offers spa services for first and business class passengers, which was one of their most famous perks that just never returned after the pandemic. These lounges are open from 5 a.m. to 2 a.m., only closing for a few hours, although the Priority Pass lounges are 24/7 if you need something overnight. But you can't argue with these lounge locations. This Thai lounge is right inside immigration, and Thai tries to put their flagship flights in the D gates right outside the lounge. It took me less than a minute from the time I left the lounge to when I reached my gate. Our plane was arriving from London after the 14-hour red-eye and arrived a bit late. It features that flagship livery that's been the brand since Thai Airways moved to Suvarnabhumi Airport in 2006 once it opened, with the tail fin featuring the traditional Thai greeting representing Thai architecture called Lamyong on the temple roofs, with gold representing the temples, magenta representing the magnolia blossom, and purple, the primary color, being the color of the Thai orchid, one of the main national symbols. Of all the gates here, we are in the gate right outside the lounge. Maybe it's a coincidence, but it seems like Thai tries to put the flagship routes closer to the lounge, which is also closer to security, so it's a win for everyone. Downstairs in the gate holding area is a restroom, which is nice considering some airlines expect people to hang out for 30 to 60 minutes without issue. Views aren't bad, but there's a filter on the window and it's a bit far from us. People begin queuing for boarding with a lane to the side for first business and Star Alliance Gold passengers. Once on board, through the first class cabin, we find the business class cabin, with a mini cabin in the front of the galley and the bulk of seats behind the second door. The first thing I notice is that the Thai culture hits hard. Those cabin colors pop, the bulkhead art stands out, the crew's decked out in Thai dress, and you're welcomed with a traditional Y gesture and bow. Nothing like those boring cabins of Iberia or American. In a 1-2-1 setup, this is the seat found on multiple of their long-haul aircraft, including the A350, the only other one I've flown last year from Beijing to Bangkok. Like most business class setups, the seats alternate closer to the aisle and window, and for added privacy, you'll want an even-numbered seat. Unfortunately, I booked this flight 4 days before the flight, so the only window seat available was one of the seats on the aisle. But at least it's still got a window view. The plane isn't all that old, relatively speaking, but these seats just feel a bit outdated. I do like that even on the aisle seats there's a large partition to add privacy. It's a noticeable difference from the alternative, like we've covered with Air Serbia, for example. The other side of the seat has a cubby and water bottle holder below the armrest, which is below the counter and storage. There's a good-sized cubby here with closing door next to the headset and charging jacks, touchscreen remote, and a reading light. Then the counter, which is actually a great size with the large diameter of the 777 cabin. There's a few windows, just hard to reach in these odd-numbered seats. But there is this little slot here, and it's not officially storage, but it works. In front of you is the TV and coat hook with the tray table that slides out from below the TV, and then the deep footwell considering that there's no leg rest on the seat. But there is some storage space below it, although unfortunately no overhead air vents. As for the amenities, given with the seats, we had these sweets waiting for us at the seat flavored like the fruits they portray, the gummy mango, orange, and mangosteen. We also had bedding waiting at the seat, including the pillow and blanket that we'll look at later. There was noise-canceling headphones, although the seal wasn't great, but some oversized slippers. They brought hot towels and then like 5 choices of pre-departure beverage, of which I chose the signature, the butterfly pea lemonade. And lastly is the amenity kit from the Jim Thompson brand, who's famous for the works with Thai silk and patterns. Inside is the matching eye mask, earplugs, dental kit, socks, and shoehorn for when you're done with the slippers, plus the aroma oil, lip balm, and lotion. Then, as pushback began, the safety video rolled that has become controversial in the country since it rolled out in 2018, as they claim it uses South American flora and fauna, but claims to be Thai. I'm calling it now. Thai Airways will be back in the US within the next year. Of the US's top unserved routes, 3 of them are to Bangkok. Los Angeles to Bangkok sees 256 daily passengers, San Francisco with 155, and New York with 147. United even announced Bangkok flights, but with an intermediate stop in Hong Kong, as they're hoping that will boost the premium demand on the flight. Considering how much demand there is on the Hong Kong to Bangkok route, I'm surprised United chose Hong Kong as the launch point and not Tokyo or Taipei. They served Bangkok with 747s through Narita until 2014. Thai Airways also used to serve the US, however, but the A340s they served New York and Los Angeles with were too inefficient to sustain services. Plus, roughly 10 years ago, amid safety concerns at Thailand's main airports, ICAO downgraded the country's safety ranking, with the FAA along with them, meaning that the country's carriers could maintain their existing routes, but not add new ones. So once they pulled out of US markets, they couldn't return, even once they got their newer, more efficient fleet. In the meantime, they may not have had their certification to fly their own aircraft, but code sharing was allowed. Most passengers transited in Tokyo with ANA or United, but they also had an agreement with Lufthansa through Munich and Frankfurt. Since COVID, Seoul, Hong Kong, Taipei, and Dubai have seen over 300% passenger increases to Bangkok, with a large portion of that being Americans transiting to Thailand. A couple of months ago, however, the FAA announced that they had reinstated Thailand's Category 1 rating. This means that Thai Airways can relaunch US services once they get their foreign air carrier permit, and this time, they have efficient aircraft that can reach the country non-stop. Los Angeles seems like the obvious first play, but San Francisco sees the second most passengers to Thailand and has better Star Alliance connectivity. My guess, Los Angeles and San Francisco are announced as new destinations by the end of the year. But what do you think? Thai Airways blew me away with the meals offered on board. We were given two menus, one for drinks and one for food. As part of Thai Airways' new rebrand, they've redone their food and drink selections as part of their Streets to Sky offerings, bringing Thailand's world-famous foods to the aircraft. This also includes their two signature drinks, the non-alcoholic Butterfly Pea Limeade and the excellent Rose of the Royal Voyage. There will be two meals on this flight, with a main one after departure and a smaller one before arrival on the medium-haul flight. They offer Western, Japanese, or Thai set plates for our first meal, with the second meal being a couple single-item options. Thai also partnered with the Black Silk brand coffee to offer an incredible drip coffee on board, which I chose to begin my meal with. Once they brought the food, it came out on a tray, but they still served it course by course, starting with the muesli and fruit plate. Southeast Asia has some of the best fruit in the world, and this plate was just not it. The fruit was unfortunately dry and flavorless, not like my last flight with Thai. That's about the only negative thing I can say, as they came with the bread options and I chose the Chinese fried dough with pandan dip. If I could eat one thing for the rest of my life, this would be in the running. Plus, the Thai silverware is gorgeous with the design and logo carved into it. For the main course, I had to choose the Thai set. I didn't come to Bangkok to have bacon and eggs, and the tom yum soup was one of the tastiest things I've ever had on an airplane, even if I've never been a fan of the smell of tom yum. It came with jasmine rice and assorted seafood, plus an onsen egg and salmon roe. And to wrap up the meal, I decided to get the Thai tea with jelly pearls. Surprise, surprise, it was also amazing. Honestly, there aren't many airplane meals I've ever had that rival what I just had on Thai. It was just a short daytime flight under 6 hours, so I wasn't planning to sleep, but that doesn't mean you won't sleep, considering this aircraft sees flights well over 10 hours. It's a bummer to have an odd-numbered seat as it lacks the privacy of the even-numbered seats with the counter between you and the aisle, but it's still not as bad as some other products. The seat shell actually helps to add some privacy. Step 1 after the seat is reclined is the pillow. It's a good firmness, but a little small if you toss and turn. Then is the comforter. I wish it was softer, but it's fairly warm, just missing some insulation or fuzz. But without overhead air vents, it can get warm in here. A bit unfortunate the lack of bedding and quality of bedding. I'm hoping you get more on the longer flights or that they have plans to refresh this with the new products being rolled out. Perhaps the biggest drawback is how tight the footwell is. On your back, your feet don't fit, and on your side, your knees are jammed against the shell. But at least the privacy ain't bad. The only people that will see you are people walking past, otherwise you've got plenty of privacy, even in these odd seats. While we were resting, they brought us a few things, a water bottle, which was appreciated as I was thirsty with no water bottles at the seat yet, the customs form for Japan, although we didn't get the immigration form, and Thai chocolates to go with it, milk and dark from different regions of the country. And lastly was vanilla or strawberry Haagen-Dazs ice cream. These 777s can have ginormous lavatories. The business class lavs on this route ain't bad, but the better part is the modern looking amenities like the oversized sink and foot pedal to open the trash chute. Plus they had perfume and extra dental kits in here. There's a few options for entertainment, and the screens were a good size in these seats. With a few different available categories, they've got so many titles it's kinda wild, even if they're a mix of languages. But it's a good thing because there's not a lot of TV shows available, and only with a couple episodes from each. But you can add things to favorites, which is great for the movies. And there's a great map. Thai does have Wi-Fi on board. It's definitely not free, not even messaging, with rates up to $40. So I decided not to buy it for the short flight. A couple hours before landing, they took our orders for the second and final meal. For this one I chose the Thai option once more, but I wanted to try their signature drink, the Rose of the Royal Voyage, which is champagne, rose syrup, and lime. It was crafted to celebrate the return of the Brussels route as the former king of Siam spent most of his time exploring the world, including 4 trips to Belgium. The Thai food option was a sweet potato bun with meatballs and a spicy tamarind sauce, topped with pickled cucumbers, cabbage, and sun-dried tomatoes. It was basically the Thai version of a meatball sub, but like a million times better. Keep doing you on these meals, Thai, and you will have no problem returning to the US. In 1960, as the country needed an air carrier, Thai Airways was founded as a joint venture with SAS. SAS held 30% of the company and offered their expertise and training with the goal of building a fully independent airline in the shortest possible time. They flew mostly regional, not reaching intercontinental flights until Australia in 1971, then reaching Europe the year later, although no US flights until the 80s once DC-10s were acquired. In 1977, the Thai government bought out the remaining SAS shares. The government actually remained the majority share until 2020. Until the 80s, Thailand actually maintained independent carriers for domestic and international operations until the Prime Minister merged the two carriers in 1987 to create one single national carrier, Thai Airways International. As Thai travel was rising, they partnered with Lufthansa, SAS, Air Canada, and United to launch the Star Alliance in 1997 as the sole Asian representation in the world's first and largest alliance. The 90s also unfortunately brought Thai's initial financial issues. It was stated that Thai was buying every type of plane being built, creating issues as they had to train crew, ground, and maintenance on the differences. As they entered the 2000s, they began the first non-stop North America flights with the A340-500 to New York, later adding Los Angeles, getting rid of the Tokyo stop. This aircraft was found to be too inefficient, however, so they ended up canceling New York and swapping the LA flights to a 777, adding back in an intermediate stop. This, combined with political conflicts in the country, rising fuel costs, and the Great Recession, the airline's finances were in decline and they recorded their first ever loss in 2008. Fortunately, they were able to restructure and defer aircraft deliveries, bringing them back to profits only a year later. But the airline remained unstable, with experts blaming ineffective leadership, inexperienced boards, and a coddled union. The 2010s was 2 steps forward, 1 step back the whole time as they phased out inefficient aircraft, replacing them with newer aircraft, taking deliveries of A380s and ordering 787s and A350s. But in 2015, ICAO's audit of Thailand Aviation returned negative results, and their status was downgraded. The FAA followed this months later by downgrading Thailand's certification from Category 1 to 2, allowing them to continue current routes but not establish new ones, and they eventually ended all U.S. flights that same year. Through this, EASA refused to blacklist Thai carriers as they continued to serve EU destinations, and the airline announced the following year that they were restructuring with 787s to relaunch U.S. routes in 2017. The airline said that New York and Los Angeles had proved to be not profitable enough, and they'd planned to serve Seattle and San Francisco, seemingly targeting connecting customers instead of originating passengers. Unfortunately, the airline wasn't able to pull this off as the finances were once again unstable. They've actually been in bankruptcy restructuring since COVID, but will exit it in June 2025, planning an aggressive expansion to get into profitable markets. They decommissioned all fuel-sucking planes, replacing them with new planes and more on order. They plan to double the fleet by 2029 and already have begun by ordering 45 787s. But that's just the start. As they come out of bankruptcy this summer, who knows where they'll go. Thai has been known for having some of the best service, but outdated hard products, even on their newer aircraft. Their financial struggles have made it so the airline couldn't plan for any long-term strategy, creating an inconsistent product. As they come out of bankruptcy protection, they announced a total overhaul of their cabins in a ceremony dubbed the New Worlds of Tomorrow, broken into two parts. The New Worlds of Travel Comfort, focusing on the hard product, and the New Worlds of Insight and Hospitality, focusing on the soft product. In business class, the A350s, 777s, and all incoming aircraft will sport a closed-door suite with wireless charging, Bluetooth audio, and USB-C outlets. The narrow bodies will also see a revamp with the 2211 Thomson Aero Vantage seats that gives every other row a throne seat, although Thai will reportedly alternate between a 1-2 and 2-1 configuration row by row, which is new, but will be their first time with a business class in regional markets, allowing passengers true business class experiences for their entire journey. As part of this, unfortunately, first class will be retained on only their 3 newest 777s, but they've decided not to add it in any further aircraft. Instead, the first row of business will be sold as Business Plus, as the suites will be slightly larger, like a Legris. Thai has also planned a new premium economy recliner seat for wide-body aircraft. But economy will actually get worse as they shift from the favorable 333 to the cramped 343, as they hope to capitalize on the leisure capacities. At least the soft product has also seen a revamp. They've returned the in-flight magazine that was eliminated during the pandemic. The amenity kits on flagship routes of Milan, Paris, Shanghai, and Tokyo will now be from the Siravanavari brand, which is the fashion brand founded by Princess Siravanavari of Thailand, which will include a greater integration of Thai culture. As for dining, the new Streets to Sky program integrates local Thai cuisine across all cabins. Economy meals will be prepared by renowned Thai restaurants and branded as Taste of Thai Tales, including Pad Thai from Tim Samai, chicken stew and rice from Rosti Dead, and stir-fried noodles from Michelin star street chef Jay Fai. There will be new signature beverages in business class and a caviar service for first and business class routes to Europe, served along with the first course. June is a big month for the airline as they leave bankruptcy protection and celebrate their 65th birthday. They'll ditch the state-managed past and resume operations as a privatized public company, allowing some more autonomy and experimental visions, like the US, which remains one of Thailand's most lucrative markets with still no non-stop flights. Even United announced the Bangkok flights, but even those are a fifth freedom flight. Reflecting on this flight, I found that Thai's hard product is a bit upsetting. The seats look kinda old, especially for a plane that's less than 10 years old. And the soft product is 50-50. The bedding is underwhelming and the bed definitely leaves room to be desired. The entertainment is a mixed bag with a ton of movies, but not many shows and expensive internet. On the other hand, the crew is some of the best in the world. They were incredible, and Thai is one of the most hospitable cultures out there. Last, but certainly not least, is the food. Without a doubt, some of the best food I've ever had in business class, and I've been thinking about it ever since this flight. So with these cabin upgrades, I see them with one of the better hard products and soft products. Just need some better bedding and internet, and they will become one of the world's best. But what do you think about Thai Airways? Let me know below, and until next Sunday, safe travels. I'll see y'all next time.